Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak. This is Pasha, the author of the Double Cross. And I have a question. The universal law, reap what you sow. Are you familiar with it? And what does it mean to reap what you sow? If you really think about it, again, you see that the wisdom of the Most High is great. You understand why He has created this principle as one of the universal laws. For those of you who ask, well, what makes you, Pasha, an authority on universal laws? Well, any other things that you speak on? The simple answer is that I study. I read a lot. Before I became Muslim in 1985, I did a thesis on religion. It took me 3 years to complete it. I studied every religion known to man. Buddhism, Sufism, the Gnostics, Seventh-day Evangelists, Jehovah's Witnesses. And myself, I was raised a Baptist. I sung in the choir, and I passed out the communion, never knowing that I was participating in a European ritual created by Jews of eating flesh and drinking blood. Now, seeing that they actually have our nation believing it's normal to think that we are eating flesh of Jesus and drinking His blood, it's crazy to me. And we are so institutionalized in this brainwashing that we never question the stupidity of eating a man and drinking his blood. I also have read the entire Bible several times, beginning with Genesis and finishing with Revelations. Every single verse. I've read the Dead Sea Scrolls. I've read the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I've studied the Egyptian mystery systems of the Coptics. I've studied the history of religion and the men that interpreted them. I've studied the prophets and the language Allah has conveyed His commandments in, all the while getting my associates in business computer systems and my bachelor's in business. I've written 5 books and 1 next book's HBO series. I've written 2 movie scripts. They all await their debut to the world. So I understand the power of information. And I understand why those who lack information, those who lack knowledge of themselves or their history, also lack power. The powers that be have purposely made us ashamed of who we are by humiliating us, calling us offensive names, enslaving us, and belittling us in every way they can. As a consequence, no one wants to be us. Even Africans come to this country and make a distinction clear that they are Africans and not us. We have a Black History Month that is repetitive and centers around the life of the 1960s, around Martin Luther King, dogs being let loose on us, water hoses, we are not allowed to eat or sit here or there, we are clubbed in the head, beaten and kicked. That is what we get. This is who we are. This is what we have come to or come from. The question is, who wants to be reminded of that constantly, every year? And they wonder why we are closed off. The bigger thing is there is so much more to who we are than what we see in the 60s under the civil rights confrontations. Our history goes all the way back to the first man and the first woman. We are Noah. We floated in the ark. Without us, there is no mankind. Without us, there would be no tablets of stone with the 10 Commandments written on them. Without us, there would be no Kaaba in Mecca. Abraham and his sons were black. Without us, there would not have been a parting of the Red Sea. Moses was black. There would be no pyramids standing today because its builder, Hotep, was a black gifted architect. February is Black History Month, so why aren't they telling us the history? I'll tell you why. Because they don't want the we shall overcome someday mentality to die. And the blacks that lived through all of that can't let go of the good old days. This is where the universal law, reap what you sow, comes in. I'm sure everyone has seen the news last week of the 4 teenagers killed and the 30 others hurt at the Sweet 16 party in Alabama. For nothing. 3 ignorant blacks killed these young brothers and sisters. 2 of them brothers, 17-year-old Tyrese and Travis McCullough, and 20-year-old Wilson Hill Jr. After their arrest a week later, they were charged with murder. The little sister that had the Sweet 16 party said that she doesn't even know these idiots. I guess they didn't have anything else to do. So now they are facing death. They are reaping what they sow, and good riddance. In Chicago, at the same time, a mob of ignorant black teenagers, both girls and boys, did the exact same thing. 28 people were killed that weekend. They destroyed businesses, looted, then went home. Clearly, the number one enemy of our people is common sense. It's avoided. The universal law makes it clear that we get what we earn. And our reputation for such stupidity has been earned. Make no mistake about it, we as a nation and not just today. This goes back centuries to when we first began abusing ourselves and our own, to when we began enslaving our own people and trading them and selling them to the white man for trinkets. And made it a global enslavement, a physical enslavement. He made it a mental enslavement, a spiritual enslavement, an economic, political, racial, and social enslavement. But it all began with us, our mission. And we are reaping what we have sown. The black children that are seen out in the streets killing other black parents' children are the result of a black, The black children that are seen out in the streets killing other black parents' children are the result of black parents not worth a damn. They are to blame for the loss of life of those that showed up to share in the party. They are the black, wretched seeds that have sprouted and have us all shedding tears. They are the truth of the divine word that says, the light shineth into the darkness, but it comprehended it not. That's just how far we have fallen from the mercy of Allah, that he would allow his first man, his first woman to be humiliated this way by their own hands. So much so that the light that we once brought to the entire world is now unrecognizable and incomprehensible to us, the first light givers. Now, ain't that crazy? We sell each other out. We betray each other. We are hateful and jealous of each other. We murder and rob each other. We turn each other out to drugs and alcohol just to make a profit. We assist the enemies of our nation against us. We assault and rape our women and men. We sexually assault our children and kill them. We are no longer the teachers. We are being taught to be foolish. And we now bow down to the image of God in our minds and spirit of a white man. He has taken over almost every aspect of our lives. We laugh at Kwanzaa. and yet celebrate white Santa Claus. Anyone that tells us that the Bible was written by black men and that its prophets were all black, we label them crazy. The Most High has said that a disobedient child would not live their days. And yet we set ourselves up for heartbreaking tears by not teaching the children to live as Allah has commanded. And this is primarily because we, the adults, live as hypocrites. Now, how ignorant is that? Parents today don't love their children because they are unfeeling themselves. So much has taken place over just the last 2 decades that they have been left numb. And when I say that they don't love them, I mean not enough to discipline them and to make them listen, to sit them down and demand the best from them, to show up, to shoot up a party shows that you hate yourself at 16. In Surah 66 of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "O ye who believe, save yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is made of wind and stones, over which are appointed angels who flinch not from executing the commands they receive from Allah, but do precisely what they are commanded." This is how we know and love are being snatched away from us every day. And yet somehow it's not real to us that one day we will get our turn. That one day we all will stand before the Most High. That once we have left this phase of the journey of the soul, our account is closed. We can't add anything to it, nor can we take any. It's a journey. It has been placed inside a vessel created from the earth, a vessel given the senses of taste, touch, sight, hearing, and smell, so that we can move about in this imaginary existence, in this testing stage. The spirit, the soul, held within us, tries to guide us. It tries to lead us. It tries to instruct us. But the senses of taste is too strong. So we eat until we are obese. Or we smoke cigarettes, it says on the pack, causes cancer. And yet we smoke anyway because we love the taste of nicotine. The soul tries to guide us, but the sight of that woman's body, her smile, her breath, causes us to lust for her and commit adultery or fornicate. The touch of a man's hand in the small of the woman's back, or the smell of his cologne, makes her moist. And she ignores the spirit, the soul within her, the law of God, and lets him know that her earthly body is there for the taking. All these things confront the soul on this journey through a weakened earthly body, on this eventual way back to the for him for judgment. The five senses betray us, weaken us, and create our vices, our misled desires, our lust for the many things that lead us to violate the commands of the Creator and destroy ourselves and those we love. Our five senses create a battle within ourselves, the battle of good versus evil, the battle of obeying the Spirit of God within us or not. It's why the Messiah has said, it would be better to pluck our own eyes out or to cut out our own tongue than to have them condemn us to the hellfire. Last week, one of our sharp young brothers, Ralph Yarl, went to the wrong house to pick up his younger brothers. As soon as he stepped on the porch, the first shot rang out, striking him in his temple. And 84 22-year-old racist Andrew Lester shot him without saying a word. Our brother stumbled, bleeding, to 2 houses next door, and they refused to help him. They ran him off. 84 years ago, shooting us was legal. 84 years ago, lynching us was legal. So save yourselves and those you love. It's the double cross. Assalamu alaikum.